Hello, everyone. Boulevard here. It's currently 9 o'clock on Sunday. So the world's qualifier just ended an hour ago, and I kind of wanted to get up here and just kind of like give my thoughts. I'm like eating for the first time today. I got some Chinese food. I know I've been going hard on editing lately. This is not going to be edited. This is just going to be like me ranting. Just kind of like first impressions at the end of the day. Kind of like give you a little post-mort with myself, talk you through my thought process as soon as I get done with an event. If you're really curious what I'm eating, I just had an egg roll. I got a couple dumplings. And then I got some chicken and eggplant. I really like chicken and eggplant. It's so good. But sometimes they leave the eggplant too firm. They like undercook it, I guess. That's not super important. So, as far as the cast goes, I felt like for the first half, I was really killing it. Like top 64 through top 16, I was like, this is why they get Boulevard, right? Like I'm crushing it right now. I'm doing some of my best work. And then I think I like thought that and kind of got in my own head. And then I was not happy with my top 8, and I was like, I think I started to pick it up in top 4 again because like I was really excited for the Chekhov-Drisov matchup. And then I think the finals, I could have handled better, but I wasn't disappointed with it. So overall, like I think I did pretty good. Usually, you don't get a lot of feedback as a caster, so it's really important to be able to evaluate your own performance and come back with takeaways from that. Usually, at least for like most of 2022, every time I did a seasonal, I would just be told good job and sent on my way. And then I would sit down and think about it, and I'd come with like a really big takeaway. And I think I've started to get, you know, I might be at the point where like I'm not getting as many takeaways as I do more events. I'm not phoning it in, that's for sure. I'm just like, I think I'm doing fine, but I want to be doing better. I want to be improving. I want to make sure that if there's an event, I am first in line to get it because, I'm not going to forget that I didn't get Worlds last year. And we've got that, back in the Glory and Navori Brawl, Dave Guskin talked about that mystery event that they talked about in the World's qualification process as well, of like, it's supposed to be theoretically a 16-person event held at the Riot campus that is going to, I think it was like WCQ winners, maybe Runeterra Open winners, and then content creators. And I'm like, if they need casters for that, I want that to be me. I want to go do that. So I need to make sure that as long as I'm getting events, I'm constantly improving and doing better. And I think this time, like, what I kind of took away was I don't do enough wordplay, or like my vocabulary is very limited, and I need to find different ways to do it. And I think you probably even heard it a couple of times. I was really looking to say things a different way than I normally say it, and then I kind of like couldn't find one quick enough, defaulted back to what I usually say, and then ended up like fucking up the words, which was worse than just going ahead and saying it the way I usually say it. So I don't know how I'm gonna expand my vocabulary for casting. That's like, a limited vocabulary doesn't come up very often in everyday life, unless you are a content creator, unless you are someone that people listen to speak for a living. It's fine to just say the same phrases the same way. So Skarzig blew me out of the water today with some of his wordplay, and I'm like, damn, like I don't know if I'm gonna get to that level, but like I gotta dial it up a little bit. So that's like my big takeaway for right now. I've thought about making more videos about like just casting in general, because I feel like I've learned a lot over the last 3 years, and I feel like I am good at this, very good at this even. I hope Riot's not just blowing smoke up my ass and like, getting me for nearly every event just because I'm the only person available. I don't think that's the case. I think when I talk, I do know what I'm talking about to a degree, and I feel like right now my vocabulary is kind of a limiting factor. And I want to get that spruced up a little bit because, yeah, it is nice when you... Skarzig had that... Someone clipped it. It was like, Swain crosses the gangplank onto the king's court, wins the prize. That shit was crazy, dude. I don't know where he came up with that. I don't know if he thought about that beforehand, if he was, like, saying that in the mirror beforehand, but that shit was crazy. If it was off the dome, like, Skarzig's goated for that one. That one was crazy. I was so jealous of that. I was like, damn, I've never said anything like that in my life. I never will say anything like that in my life. That's so good. But yeah, overall, I was like pretty fine with my casting. I'd like to improve my vocabulary. As an example of like other big takeaways that I've gotten after seasonals is I think it was actually a year ago. I think it was the first event that I did in this apartment because I just renewed my lease at the start of May, so I'll be here for another year. Because I remember last May I also did an event. I believe I was with Skarzig then as well, and I remember sitting in the post-mort and I was like thinking about it, and I'm like, sometimes it's okay to just shut the fuck up. Every thought that goes into your brain does not have to be said out loud on camera, and I feel like that was a really big jump in casting for me, was when I realized that even if you have like a really good point to say about something, it's painful but okay to just let the moment pass without ever getting your 2 cents in. I feel like that makes the show flow a lot better than calling back to it. Like if we're looking at a deck list and there's something I really want to talk about, if it's that important, I will have another opportunity to talk about it on the broadcast. And if I don't, then it probably wasn't that important. So like if we look at a deck list and my co-caster like rants for the entire time that deck list is on screen, even if I had something I really wanted to get out about that deck list, I'm just gonna hold it in and move on. The graphics have moved on, and so I will move on. That was like, I felt like that was a really big jump when I kind of realized that. And again, it's one of those things where like you have to be able to teach yourself that. You know, if you've done casting before, you know that you probably also just got a pat on your back and chipped on your way. I like to cultivate the personality of people knowing that I'm not gonna bullshit them. I don't know if I should even be saying this, but Skarsgård, sorry. I don't know why I kept confusing Skarsgård and Trissot's name as well. But Drissoth actually DM'd me a little bit. It was so we started the broadcast at 1, or at least like that's when we all got into a call together and stuff. At 12:45, Drissoth messages me and he's like, "Hey, no bullshit. I'm considering 2 lineups. One's high agency and not as powerful. The other one's low agency, a little bit more powerful. Do you think I am a top 4 player in the top 64 to run the high agency lineup?" And I said yes. And he was like, "Okay." I never got confirmation on if the lineup he picked was the high agency one. I think it was. If Karmaset's going to be in there, I have to assume it was. But once I saw him in the top 4, I was like, still got it, Boulevard. You can still call him like you see him. You know, no false confidence here. If like Mo had DM'd me and he was like, well, actually Mo did DM me his lineup and he was like, it's a first or 64th angle. And I was looking at it, I'm like, that's a fucking 64th angle, but I don't know what you're talking about. And then Mo lost in top 64. And I like players to know that they can come to me and I'm not going to bullshit them. I think that it's important to have someone like that, right? And I'll be that person. That's fine. I'm not going to be meaner than I have to be. I don't want to like, you know, I'm not trying. I've been compared to LS in the past, which I think is like a huge compliment. Dude's really talented. But I do think that he can be unnecessarily mean sometimes, and I don't want people to think that of me. And I, you know, but I also don't want to bullshit you. I want you to know that you can trust what I say, and part of that means that if you feel like you're doing a bad job, I'm going to tell you you're doing a bad job, or like if you suck, I'm going to tell you suck, and that's why I think people really want to see like a top 10 players list out of me, which is not going to happen. I have no plans to do that. It's just so much of a fucking headache to try and deal with people that didn't get put on the list, or like, you know, it just causes drama, and that's drama that I have to deal with. That's not drama you guys have to deal with. That's like drama in my DMs, and I'm like, I'm not going to fucking do that, dude. I don't want to beef with these people. I have an internal top 10 list, I'll say that. It's not like fleshed out. I'd have to put a little more thought into it, but like I have a general idea of where I rank players. And I'll tell you what, there are some seasonal champions that are really fucking low on that list. But I'm not going to say who. But back to the point more. Talking about the meta a little bit, you know. I got the APAC deck list. I got the EMEA deck list. I haven't had time to sit down with the Americas deck list yet. I did get an archetype breakdown. And we were pretty on par with APAC and EMEA. We were a lot lower on Bilgewater Tristana and a lot higher on Demacia Tristana. We were pretty in line with EMEA in that regard. I think we were directly in line with APAC on our Samira Fizz presence. What surprised me was we were kind of high on Nasus, which I think Nasus was a bit of a bait going into the weekend. I think it was like fine for the open rounds, but I think like Shen Jarvan and Nasus looked really good for open rounds, and then for top cut, probably wouldn't have brought him. And unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to actually go and get all the Swiss lists. And even if I wanted to, it's like 4 or 5 hours of work to get that done. And honestly, I'm tired. I have to make YouTube content, so I have to shoot a video tomorrow and the next day. And like, I don't think I'm going to have a spare 4 or 5 hours to sit down and get Swiss lists just so I can sit here and stare at them and no one else will ever see them. Or like, I'll put them on Twitter and I'll get 3 likes and, you know. Then 6 months later, someone asks me if I have them. And I'm like, all right, yeah, here you go. By the way, a couple of players did this. If you ever want deck lists from like a past event and it was an America seasonal, I just have those, dude. If you're ever, for whatever reason, you just want to look at them, I put them on Twitter before, I put them on Reddit before, but like, you know, people lose them. I still have them. I know where they are. I even had the APAC and EMEA top 64 lists like this morning. That's what I did with my morning. That's what I do. That's why I am who I am. Because that's what I do. That's what I like to do. I wish we had more things archived. I wish I didn't have to. I wish Riot did it. Because it is a very manual process and it takes a while. And even in the breakdown, sort of coding that we have, like the sheet that we have that has all the archetype breakdowns, it has a hard time differentiating by champion. So for example, it'll classify like Nasus and Nasus Vigar separately, and I don't want to do that. I want to lump them together under the Nasus umbrella, which makes it a little cleaner. So I do still have to go do it manually, even if someone compiled it via some kind of code. You see it a lot with Aegis, where like Aegis automates that shit super quick, but it doesn't differentiate between champion splits. So like when Red Gwen was very popular, you'd have like, you know, Katarina Gwen was a separate category from Katarina Gwen Elise, which that's all the Red Gwen umbrella, baby. So it's a manual process, but I might go into it, I might not. As far as other surprises, I was really surprised by Alawi Swain. That I didn't think that deck was gonna do anything. I thought that deck was dog shit, and Chekhov didn't change my mind, but definitely impressed me with it. And we had a really high presence of it in the Americas comparative to APAC and EMEA. APAC and EMEA both brought 4. We brought like 11 or like 9. It was like 9 or 11. It was a lot. It was probably like one of our top 5, top 6 decks. We also didn't bring as much Kai'Sa as I thought we would. You know? Baya put up numbers with the deck. Its matchup charts look good. APAC got baited by Kai'Sa. I don't know why we didn't get baited by Kai'Sa. We but baited by Alawi Swain, which actually didn't do too bad either for the players that did bring it. Like, obviously, Chekhov got to the top 4 with it. I think that's as far as it went. But, you know, that's good. Chekhov's someone who can play ladder if they want to. So, they picked up a lot of Runeterra points here. Good shot Chekhov's going to go to Worlds, but things are a little bit more up in the air in that regard than they will be in future seasons because we have the back-to-back Eternal Runeterra Opens. So the fact that we have a 4th Open this season does mean that a high finish at the WCQ plus a high ladder finish very well may not be enough because you do have to top 3, right? That's important to keep in mind. The Chinese container is too big for the plate I brought, so I kind of just have to, like, raw dog, put it on my desk. I don't know how I'm going to get the rice in here either. I used to eat Chinese food all the time. I haven't had it in a minute. I had some like lo mein last week because I was really craving it, but that was the first time in months that I had it. This used to be like my go-to delivery ordered, but now, I think you can kind of see it. I have like a home gym set up in the back. I've been working out a lot and trying to like eat healthy and whatnot. My air fryer just shit out, so I had to order a new one. So I gotta wait for that to get here on Monday. Otherwise, I probably would have just like made more chicken and potatoes. But you know what? I did an event. I can order Chinese food, you know? I'm not always the best at taking it easy on myself, and then sometimes I take it too easy on myself. I'm sure a lot of you have fallen into that cycle as well. I haven't found the healthy middle ground yet. I'm working on it, though. Yeah, that's the important thing. I drink a lot of water, though. I'd probably drink a gallon and a half of water today. But I do that every day. What was impressive about today is usually I don't get to drink that much water while casting, especially on the MR broadcasts, because they don't give us as many breaks. And it's usually a longer day. But overall, I don't want to like get too off topic. It's off topic. This is just me ranting and putting it on YouTube, right? You know, how off topic can I really get? But yeah, you know, things are going pretty good. Did the MR one last weekend. Then I did this weekend. MR is probably gonna have some kind of Eternal format thing relatively soon because I think the first Eternal Open is in like less than a month. I think it's the 10th and then the 17th. It's kind of confusing because the first Runeterra Eternal Open said it was June 17th. And then they're like, we're adding a second one on June 17th. It's back-to-back weekends. And that's not back-to-back weekends. I assume that if the first one was slated to be on the 17th, then the season ends like immediately after that. And then we'll go into the next one and we'll like go to next week's Runeterra Open, or next season's Runeterra Open, rather, the first one, the standard one. So I have to assume that the other one is before it, and it's like June 10th, in which case we're already only like 4 weeks away, so I kind of get a gut on that. Right now, it's like chill until the balance patch. I say chill, but like obviously I've been trying to make more YouTube content that isn't just gameplay, but eventually I'm going to have to just default to gameplay because I can't, those videos take a while to edit, and I can't do that every night for every week, but I kind of like chill until the balance patch. Then I have to jam everything possible into my brain about Eternal to try and help people prep for, you know, those 2 opens. I imagine it's going to look a lot like standard, and there's going to be some more powerful cards, but, you know, there's obviously some important enough cards that are rotated that there's probably archetypes that are going to get revived, especially because, like, new champions. You know, there's like 30 champions that get back in. It might look totally different. Who knows? But I am curious what the balance patch is going to look like, because it probably will have a little bit more Eternal focused stuff, since this is the open we're going to go into. But that's like, I have to learn that entire format. And I'll probably be able to make content about that the whole time I'm learning, right? I'll just like play a bunch of Eternal ladder, I guess. I assume I'm gonna. Eternal ladders never existed before, so maybe I'm bronze or iron. Maybe we're all just iron 4, and I have to go through the long grind back to masters that I haven't had to do since beta. Because I hit masters the worst I've done in seasons is diamond. I'll like get to diamond and then I'll stop, and then I go back to gold next season. But it's like high gold, so it's like whatever. Back in plat immediately, back where everyone else was. Time to grind to masters, but like I'm already masters right now, so God, I might actually have to do the long grind of iron all the way to masters for eternal, which is fine. That'll be a really good idea, like way for me to learn about the format. I'm just always worried about playing a bunch of ladder to learn about the format, because sometimes it builds bad habits, or worse, you get a bad idea of what the meta actually looks like. Because if you just played a bunch of ladder, I'd be like, Nasus is fucking everywhere, dude. It's all Nasus and Vandal Gunners. I would have, all the different Samira variants. Karma Set probably wouldn't have come up, but who knows? That's like what's I'm looking forward to right now. What comes next sort of is focusing on Eternal, and focusing on making sure I'm in a good position to go to that mystery event that they had alluded to. I know back in the Glory and Navori Brawl, Dave Guskin talked about like, yeah, we're trying to do this like 16-person event at the Riot campus, ideally in like August. And then they put out like invites for that for either Runeterra Opens or WCQs. I don't even remember. But if they have casters for that, I want to be one of them. And I have not forgotten that I did not get Worlds last year. I know I showed up, but that's only because Panda had like the most tragic thing in the world happen to him. I wasn't supposed to be there. And I haven't forgotten that. And so I'm not taking anything for granted. I know I've done every event this year so far, but I also did 90% of the events last year. So, they might not pick me, and could be. They might not even get casters. And so I want to make sure that maybe I get a content creator spot, a little bit of preferential treatment. Not the biggest content creators, but maybe Riot's favorite content creators. Maybe I fit into that bill. So I gotta make more content and stuff. So that's what comes next. Is like, that is very much on my mind in terms of just trying to put myself in the best position to get into that event, which includes just like doing these events and doing well. And I think I did pretty well today. I think I did good. Not great, but I think I did good, and I will improve and do great next time. And that's all I really can try to do. But again, I don't know when the next one is. It might not be until like, I think it's gonna be July is the next WCQ, which is actually only 2 months away. So like, maybe I'll get but that's if I get picked for it, right? I just never guarantee that I'm going on to the next event. I'm very surprised that I've gotten as many as I have over especially during 2022. But that's kind of a conversation for another day. That's actually a conversation that we're never gonna have, but. You play it off like it's a conversation for another day. As far as what else I want to talk about, like the meta surprised me a little bit. Maybe I'll talk about it more, maybe I won't. It doesn't really matter at this point. But I'm definitely going to be switching gears towards Eternal once the balance patch hits, or the ladder for that opens up, and we start to experiment with what to do for the first open for that, and then the second open. That's going to be like a crazy week for me, is when we have the first open followed by the second open. Like that downtime in between, I got to be like, all right, yeah, we have a fucking open to look at. That's never happened before. We got 2 seasonals in a meta. This is what happened last seasonal. What's going to happen now? That's going to be a doozy. And hopefully I'm well rested for it, because I haven't been doing a great job at that. Because I've been casting a lot more than usual. There's just been more events for me to cast, which is great. I like spending my entire weekend casting if I can. The opportunity for that just doesn't happen very often. So, yeah, that's probably it. I'm just gonna eat my chicken and eggplant and watch some Dead by Daylight streams, because I watch a lot of Dead by Daylight. I don't play Dead by Daylight, but I watch the shit out of it. Because they have a couple of like casters that I think are like really good in changing my perspective and making me think a lot more about more 3-dimensional games than 2-dimensional games when it comes to like casting and stuff like that. And I've taken a big interest in that as of late, but I don't think you're gonna see the fruits of that labor for quite some time. Anyway, that will do it for me. I hope you enjoyed this on like your car ride home from work or something, or just like I'm eating. It's my lunch break. I need to put a YouTube video on. I hope that I could do that for you. So, congratulations to Drissoth, as well as Chekhov, and of course all the other top 64 competitors, but mostly Drissoth. See you guys next time.